And we're live.
Anthony, were you a sports guy?
Oh my God. I was so not. I never understood, like, when school would end at 3 o'clock, whatever the hell it was, and I would go to walk to the bus or walk home, and I'd look at the field, the track and the football field and everything, and see people there in uniform doing something. I'd be like, why aren't they going home? Why would you want to stay any later than you had to? You could get home to a television or your friends or toys or something. Never understood it. So I never, ever went out for sports.
I know your dad was a very interesting character. Did he ever pressure you into it, or was he always just the cowboy?
No, he didn't. I don't think he necessarily equated sports with being a man. Like, he was just very, you had to be a man. Don't cry. Don't do that. Be a man. But it was never a sports thing. He was just more like, if someone's bugging you, pick up a big stick and crack him on the head kind of thing.
That's interesting. So Taylor or Woody, maybe, did either of you ever have a moment where your father had like a be a man type story? Like, you did A and B and he was like, you should have gotten to C, but you didn't. Next time, be a man. Like, was there anything like that where he didn't he thought you needed to toughen up or do a thing better because you just weren't living up to his potential?
I remember so many times playing goalie in ice hockey, and I would let one in that I probably should have had if I was squared up and playing right. And I'd have to, like, in hockey, like, you're there, so you're a little set. In soccer, the other sports where there isn't plexiglass between you, the parents can yell reasonably loud and you can hear them. Hockey, they have to scream so much that it resonates throughout the arena to get you to hear it. So many times I just remember, like, letting one in and being like, please no, and I'd hear just, get your head in the game. I'd just be like, oh, Dad, and that was definitely my bad. But
now you're shaking.
I'm nervous, but that was just the motivation I needed. I didn't need someone to coddle me and say, oh, did that goal go by you? Was that one pretty quick? Like, you wouldn't get any better. You need that tough love sometimes, especially with sports, because sports is a meritocracy, and you need that level of, if somebody does badly in the NFL, NHL, NBA, they don't go, LeBron, have you been feeling depressed again? I know we've discussed this before. They go, hey, this is your fucking job. Get it done. And, I like to think I was good enough at 16 that it applied to me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main focus.
There was never like I wasn't being manly enough. I do remember one time I was being bullied by a group of people, and my father had my brother, who was 2 years older, drive me to school with a baseball bat. And they're like, if they fuck with your brother, you got to hit him with this bat. You do whatever you got to do. And the trouble was, like, I'm not sure we'd win. Right? Like, oh, great. You changed it from a 4-on-1 to a 2-on-1 or a 4-on-2. Are we winning now? Like, I don't know. And then, like, the toughest of them was probably equivalent to my brother or something. I know he's 2 years older and stuff, but I'm not getting bullied by pussies, right? Because that's not a problem. I'm getting bullied by big fucking bullies. And
that's the situation.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm glad that you gave my brother permission to beat him up and everything, but I don't know that permission was the problem all along. We weren't showing great restraint. Yeah. So, and then, he couldn't drive me home because he went to another school in the afternoon, and it's like, I don't know if this is even solving things because I'm feeling really vulnerable on the walk home here. And
that's like when in World War II, when the P-51s could defend the bombers on the way to the target, but not the way back.
Yeah, perfect.
Now you're just at the...
Yeah, at least I had a bike before where I got home quicker. It was a little tougher to hunt me out in the 12 minutes it took me to get there. Yeah. Now it's like a 60-minute walk home because I don't have a bike anymore. And it's fucking, yeah. I think now about, like, the bullies that... I'm sure the bullies, there's the same sort of thing, but, like, I remember I'd ride my bike home from school, and the bullies would take their car and steer over the curb onto the driveway and come out and I'm like backing up on my bicycle furiously, which isn't very fast, and they're like surrounding me, and now they're like pushing me around. I'm like trying to find that break where I could maybe ride my bike again and get a little distance, and I don't know how this is going to work out. They have a car, but, like, nowadays they're like, oh yeah, there's
Were
name
you Forrest
calling.
Gump? This was Forrest Gump's childhood.
So
Then
then
he
I
had a
ran
bicycle.
until the braces broke off. And
I wish. I can't run
running.
for shit. Yeah, I'm not built for running. But
Imagine
yeah,
Chase, you throwing rocks.
I just, like, I don't know. People, let me know. Are people still driving their car off the road onto the sidewalk to bully people? Because my bullies didn't fuck around. But
I mean, if I
like
see a kid who needs a little bullying,
I'll tell you,
that kid isn't as tough as he could be. Pull over, you teach him a lesson, the world's a little better.
that
You know,
you
maybe he
guys,
cries on the way home.
you guys have
I
all
think
heard me
old
tell this
school
story
bullying.
once where I gave the overhand right. Like I saw it on TV. I hit the guy. We were all in the outside the locker room, like for gym class, and I've told the story like 4 times. I bloodied his nose, and he had a white T-shirt. He was one of the guys in the car, but he was fucking with me without his friends, and that's when I hit him. But so I wasn't like a big pussy or anything. I was just in situations that were hard to deal with. I needed more than permission to beat them up.
Yeah, but your parents were like Anthony. I'm imagining. I know that your dad probably would have given you like a big pat on the back if he heard you got in a brawl and defended yourself. Did you ever have to do something like that?
Yeah, I was. I think I might have told this on this show, but I've told it on my show. I got in a fight with Boomer Esiason, who was the.
How'd that go?
When I was in 5th grade, we were both going to Timber Point Elementary School. He never liked being called Norman, even back then. He was Boomer, and his name's Norman. And I called him Norman. One of his friends saw that I was the one that yelled, "Hey, Norman," around the corner and told Boomer, and he was going to kick my ass after school. And we meet up after school. I square off, and I throw a punch right into his forehead. And later I will learn that I broke the ulna and radius. My arm broke on Boomer's head, and he dispatched me quite quickly after that.
How tall was he? How tall was he then?
He was the big fucking guy.
Like 6'5" or something.
Big guy. And he was a bully. He would go around and fart in people's faces in the cafeteria. And he was the gym teacher's pet. Always great at every sport. Played way too hard for some of the kids. Defense, he'd smack people down on the ground. And I knew I wasn't going to win. I didn't think I'd break my arm hitting him.
You thought he'd do that for you.
We did a golf outing a few years ago and brought it up, and it was kind of funny. Did
you remember?
Now, but boy, it was serious then.
Did he remember the whole incident?
Oh yeah. We both.
Oh, that's awesome. Was he surprised that it was you, or did he remember you from school? Like,
yeah. He remembered like everything. It was a very small little community in East Islip, Long Island, and we all used to hang out, ride bicycles together, and shit like that. So, that was strange.
we had 2 elite athletes in my grade. One's name was Doug Coleman. He ended up playing in the NFL for like 6 years or something, so close to that. And another one was Pat Lynch, and he was a wrestler. He had like 100, match wrestling or win streak, which is a lot. 100, He won states as a freshman, sophomore, and junior, but not a senior because he went up like 3 weight classes and would just started wrestling with gigantic fucks. And neither of them were bullies in the slightest. I always admired them. I used to talk to God and be like, dude, you should have blessed me with that kind of size because I would be a defender of the small. Like I would be exactly what you want. Like these guys were good role models. Like I'd be a Doug Coleman or a Pat Lynch. I wouldn't be, fucking Howard the Jackass, who was also large. and I just like, man, like I should have been given this size. I would have done good with it. Like done good deeds with it. They
good deeds, yes.
But I wasn't gifted with size.